good day to all our viewers. We welcome you to another episode of the Peace Clinic. We are excited you could join us on today's episode, and we'll be looking at quite an interesting topic. But we wanted to know that the Peace Clinic is brought to you by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management, and I remain your uncle, Janet Michael, the Director for Media and Information. I have here with me Ambassador Tahule Joshua, the Registrar for the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management, and a doctoral fellow of the Institute in person of Dr. Ugochukwu. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you today.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Janet,
Ambassador
thank you.
Joshua, it's a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you very much, Janet. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so to our viewers, once again, thank you for joining us. We would love to hear from you at the comment section. So kindly go to the comment section and let us know where you're watching us from. And we'll be looking at a discourse. We are talking about the End Bad Governance protest, the ongoing protest currently in Nigeria. And we will be looking at the impact assessment of this nationwide protest. Today is the day 5 of the protest, and so far, we have seen various activities from the side of the protesters and also from the side of the government. So today we will be looking at from the day 1 to the day 5, the impact it had on us as a people. We're looking at the social impact, the economic impact, the political impact, and also the media is not left out. We'll also be looking at that. So going back to today's discussion, Ambassador Joshua and Dr. Ugochukwu will be joining us in this discussion. We have others who will be joining us also from different regions of the country. We would love to know what is happening in cities like Kano, in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, and also in key places where the protest has been going on. So to our viewers, if you are in a location and you have an information which you think we need to know, you can do well to reach out to us in the comment section. Our eyes will be there to pick out things that are important to this discussion. So once again, thank you everyone for joining us, and we would love you to be part of this conversation. So once again, we are looking at a background study of the protests. In our last clinic, we discussed about the protest, the End Bad Governance protest, the organizers behind it, and also the demands of the protestants, what the protestants are asking for from the government. But Ambassador Joshua, I would love you to do a quick recap on the background of the protest and also the demands, so we can start off on the right foot.
All right, Janet, thank you very much. The last time we had a discussion on the End Bad Governance protest, we're looking at some of the things that the protesters are calling governments to do. First and foremost, the reduction in the fuel price. Also, the issue of salary increase, payment of the living wages, which is about 300,000. That's what they are demanding for. And then also electoral reforms, judicial reforms, and several other factors that they are demanding for. And the protest has started already. The protest is ongoing. And this is what we are here to look at, some of the impacts of the protest so far. So for me, like we anticipated before, that it has been from the history. We know that protests in Nigeria always go the way it is. So it's not too surprised that we are seeing what we are seeing, because we anticipated it and it's happening. So I think the protest generally was meant to be a peaceful protest. That's what the protesters target to be, a peaceful protest. And we expected to see a peaceful protest. And that's what we also encourage and advise the protesters to look out to make sure that the protest is peaceful, even to the organizers. But I don't know we are here to determine whether it's peaceful or it has gone the other way around. So that is why we are here. So by your assessment, because maybe if I say it has gone the way it is not supposed to be, then that would be my viewpoint. That would be my own assessment. Your own assessment may be different from mine. So we'll look at it all together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua, for that. So we will be looking at the social impact. You know, how has the end bad governance protest affected us as a people socially? And just like you've made mention, we've had issues of, okay, at first it started as a peaceful protest, or it was supposed to be a peaceful protest. And just like you mentioned, we'll be finding out if it has actually remained a peaceful protest or not. So looking at the social impact, we have had issues of human rights violations. We have had reports of protesters who have been killed, who have been manhandled and violated by police officers, by the militaries, and the likes of them. Dr. Ogochukwu, I would love you to, from your location, talk to us about what is happening in your location in terms of the social impact of the protest, especially when it has to do with the human rights violation.
Thank you very much. Once again, it's a pleasure joining you live. The social impact of the protest in Port Harcourt has not been as bad as we expect it to be, because Port Harcourt or River State, for example, is going through its own turn in the downtime of politics, coming from the fact that they just concluded the post-election crisis that brought a clash between the incumbent governor and the former governor, now the minister of FCT, Barrister Nyesom Wike, posed a lot of threats in River State, where the incumbent governor isn't honoring the structural alliance that was instituted in River State before now, and that has posed a lot of threats in River State, which has hit River State from all strata. We saw resignation of commissioners, voluntary resignations. We saw the challenges the local government chairman had with the incumbent governor. And we have seen a lot of things before today that this protest now comes up to add salt to the sore in River State. But unlike what people expected, we have always known protests in Nigeria to be hijacked, and that was our fear from the word go. When the people came saying that a protest will be organized to rally against hunger and bad governance, yes, it was a good move, and it is a good move. Everybody has a right to protest, but what happened in River State in the EdSARS was one thing that posed a lot of fear. The EdSARS was a bloody one where unrecorded, of course, unrecorded, over hundreds, if not thousands of people were maimed, especially the Oyibo axis. Now, when we now come to talk about the current protest, that is the end bad governance protest, which in Port Harcourt we say is end hunger protest. You know, people expected compromise. People expected hijack, especially from the opposing parties, political parties. People expected hijack because already there was tension in River State. But we give it to the governor, the incumbent governor, for the capacity posed to, to curtail or to absorb this protest. Because the youths, of course, in River. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Can you
hear
hear
you,
me?
sir.
Yes, yes,
I
we
can
are
hear
with
you. Go
you.
ahead.
We are with you, please.
So the youths in River State, and of course, the governor has proven capacity to lead the people to the front, because this was not really expected. There were fears that a whole lot of things would go wrong, but somehow the governor was able to address the youths that have rallied to, campaign against bad governance. And we saw the governor at the federal secretariat come out to address the people, telling them that he has heard them loud and clear, like the president said he has heard the people loud and clear, and that he was going to transmit their cry, their plight to Mr. President, who would in turn implement every plea they have made. That helped to cushion the effect of the impact of the protest in River State. So I think that in River State, the police did a good job. We have not had experiences of clash between the protesters and the police. Instead, we've seen a good alliance, because on the day one, the people went to the police and said, "We are hungry." And we had a policing system that understood the characteristics of both the protesters and the protests, understanding the times of River State. So there was no civil unrest. There was no malhandling of persons. Instead, the police approached the people, in a system that we call civil. And I think that helps to reduce escalation of that crisis in River State. Even though when the governor addressed the people and offered to give them money for drink, some people among the crowd shouted, it's almost escalated tension. They said, "How much will you give us to satisfy or quench our hunger?" So there was almost division in the crowd, but somehow it was managed, and today Port Harcourt is peaceful. We are in the fight of the protest, and though after the president's address, the number of protesters reduced, but yet people are protesting and saying our issues have not been addressed. The pressing demands of the Nigerian populace have not been addressed. Thus, we will continue to protest till the end. So for Port Harcourt, there is peace, and we know that, of course, tensions, troubles can never be eradicated from any situation, but can be reduced to the lowest minimum that is practicably possible. So we've experienced professional approaches of the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian police in Rivers State, and we give it to the governor for his contributions to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ogochukwu. Now, Ambassador Tahule, you are in the Federal Capital Territory. What can you tell us about the situation of things in the city of Abuja when it relates to the social impact of the End Bad Governance protest in the city?
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. In Abuja, yes, in some areas it has not been good. In some places it's calm, but in other places it has not been so calm. And most especially in the area of Nyanyang, Karumaraba, it was very tough on the first day. And even at Airport Road, there were incidents of roadblocks by the protesters. And so there were incidents of police arrests here and there. And even to some point, we have police tear gas the protesters. And then to some extent, some people were injured. They reported incident of even death in the course of the protest. So in Abuja here, so far, some people have been arrested. Okay, so and so if you go by that, we can say that whether they are part of those that constitute the violence aspect of the protest, that we cannot tell. But it's on record. Even the police force themselves reported that I think about 68 people have been arrested in Abuja here alone. So I think this is the situation in Abuja. But somehow the city is quite calm. It's not so tensions like in other cities, but in other places, in suburb areas of Abuja, like the Nyanyang, Karu, Maraba, as is, there are still people that are coming out to protest. Although in the heart of the city, actually there is tension has reduced. Although there are some people that are still gathering around the stadium and all of that, but police are still dispersing them to make sure that they have not gathered. But in Abuja, that's the situation. So it's like there's a kind of a form of confrontation between the protesters and the police because the police doesn't want them to gather. Do you understand? So in that kind of situation, we can say that the protesters do not have the free ground to protest in Abuja per se. And there are some level of restriction and limitations on the size of the security forces. And so there have been crashes and some violence here and there. But generally, to say generally, it's somehow calm. Abuja is somehow calm. And though people are not moving out much, but we are moving. People are still, like we are in the office today, something we have not been since Thursday. We have not come to the office. We came today. So somehow it's peaceful in town. So we give credit to whoever deserves it. I don't know whether it's the police. I don't know whether it's the protesters themselves. But to some extent, we are enjoying a peaceful atmosphere in Abuja for now.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua. So concerning the Abuja protest, we've actually had situations whereby the protesters going out, so we all believe that, and the Constitution backs it up, that protest is a right. The citizens have the right to protest. But we've had situations or reports of human rights violations where the protesters are being violated. The likes, some even killed. We've actually had that report. So how do you react to that as a citizen of the country? How do you react to the fact that even in the midst of an activity that is backed by the Constitution, there are still reports of human rights violations?
Okay, Janet, you see, this is a very complex problem. When we are talking about the issue of protests in our country, it has so many factors that influence certain activities. We talk about a protest that's supposed to be a peaceful protest, but from the day one of the protest, you can observe that it was not as peaceful as it was supposed to be. So one could ask, what happened? What happened that the protest was not peaceful? Okay, there may be some triggers here and there that may cause the protesters to degenerate or deviate from what was supposed to be peaceful to a violent situation. Okay, I saw in some places like the mob that was moving from Nasarawa, that is from Karu, to the heart of the town. They were marching from Nyanyan to the heart of the town, that is in the heart of the city. And I think from the videos we saw, there were blockage, like the police cars blocking the passage, the road, so that the protesters cannot pass through. Do you understand? So it was as if there was a restriction and a limitation. So, and if you know, if a mob is coming and you want to limit them, there's going to be a crash. You understand? So in that kind of situation, I believe that this triggered some of the violent situation we see, because if they expected to have a free flow to move, okay, so there was not supposed to be any form of limitation on their way wherever they want to march to. Do you understand? It was supposed to be a free flow. So, but situation whereby they cite the security people trying to protect or limit their movement, then it means that there is a threat to their mission and goal. Do you understand? So as a result, and the presence of the security, which was not for their own protection, it was just to block the passage, then it becomes a problem. And so I believe this was one of also the reasons that triggers the violent aspect of it. And then also some protesters blocking roads, that is protesters themselves, blocking roads, like with tires, burning tires on the road, also constitute some of the challenges, because if you are protesting and your protest is a peaceful one, then you're supposed to maybe be on a particular lane of the road, marching straight on a PO on how you want to coordinate it. And then, but when you burn tires on the road, you block. If you go to Airport Road, when we're coming to work, you see it was very visible that the roads were blocked with tires, burn tires. You can see the signs are on the road even up to this moment. So, and there were issue of gunfire even at the Airport Road. The reason was that maybe there was some kind of escorts, maybe from the airports into the city. I get a point on VIPs coming from airports into the city, and then such kind of blockage, you expect that there may be some kind of exchange. Do you understand? So in this kind of situation, there were some reactions. There were some reactions. So I can say that you know, when you cite the security in Nigeria in a particular environment, and they are not on the mission to protect, then they are on a different mission. And once the protesters cite them, they become agitated because they are not there for them, but they are against them. Do you understand? So that is the belief. And going by what the Amnesty International reported, they say that police were firing live ammunition on the protesters. Do you understand? Although I read from the police report where they also refuted the information shared by Amnesty International. So I don't know who to believe again. But we have incidents where people were reportedly killed. Do you understand? Like, okay, one of the incidents, which is in Borno State, the police says that it was a Boko Haram attack activity, that maybe one of the Boko Haram members that ran into the protesters and exploded denoted devices that kill people, and then also a vehicle, maybe presumed to be also from Boko Haram members that run into the protesters and kill people. Do you understand? Things like that. So these are kind of reports we receive from the police. I read on their X handle. Okay, this is what I read from their X handle. I'm talking about it. This is what they say in effort to refute what the Amnesty International reported. Do you understand? So, but generally in Abuja and outside Abuja, there were some form of limitations, restrictions. So that is, the protester did not have freedom to flow. And then maybe this also triggers the issue of the violent aspect of the protest. It could be a contributing factor. It could also be that there were just some general bad elements among the protesters that just wanted to start the violent aspect of the protest. Do you understand? Because they came up with intention to destroy, to steal, and to vandalize. Do you understand? If you can see the issue in Kano, where somebody was even vandalizing traffic light. What has traffic light has to do with you? What is the offense of the traffic light for you? You climb the traffic light, you are destroying it. What is the offense of this traffic light to you now? Do you understand? So if you go after food, you will know that yes, actually you are hungry, so you need food to go and eat, but you are destroying traffic light. How does that affect your welfare now? Do you understand? So these are the issues. So it's possible that there were also some bad elements that just came into the group to just cause violence. If you see where the government property in Kano was also invaded and destroyed, properties were cut away. You see the situation in Jigawa State, where the APC headquarters or office secretariat was destroyed. You know, visibly you see some of the things that they were carrying, very, very funny things. Black robbers in the toilet that we used to fetch water and back with it, they carry it. So I was looking at it. Is this the hunger process? Why are you carrying rubber? What would that rubber do for you? Do you understand? Some were even carrying zinc roof. What are you going to do with slips of zinc? What are you going to do with all those things? Do you understand? Is that going to cure the hunger you are talking about? So, but these are the issues. So generally we can say that there were maybe some bad elements. Also, there were also some security restrictions here and there. And also maybe because if you have the right to protest, that is fine. But you also have the right to maintain order. That is another aspect. So maybe there was, imbalances between these factors of maintaining order and then also protesting. Because if you are, that is, people were not allowed to move freely. Like, okay, I saw a situation where close to in Delta State or close to Delta, where roads were blocked, the commuters the travelers were stopped, vehicles were destroyed, passengers were beaten, and all manner were happening. Do you understand? So all those kind of situations are some of the issues that we can say that may trigger the violent aspect of the protest. But by and large, I know that one among all of these factors I mentioned here might have contributed to the triggering of the violent aspect of the protest that we have experienced so far.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua Tahuли. Now, we'll be looking at, before we move into the economic impacts, we'll be looking at, in terms of the public awareness and then the civic engagement. We've seen how we as a people, how Nigerians react, especially when it comes to political matters. We saw the 2023 general election, how people came out in mass. And after the result didn't come out in favor of, a majority of the people, we saw the level of disappointment, and we could, see that in terms of activism, in terms of people's participation in politics had dropped. And then now we are having the protests, and we are seeing a group of people who are agitating, who are at the forefront, who are moving to say, no, we need to end bad governance. And we are also seeing a category of people who also, are in the same hunger situation, but they are less active. You find people at home, and then when you ask them, why are you going out to protest? And they will say, no, I'm not participating in that. And they're complaining on social media, they're complaining to their friends, to their families, but they are not, as inspired to go out to protest like the others. So, Dr. Ugochukwu, what do you think, caused this division? We saw the NSAS protest, how people came out in mass, and we can't really compare that number to what we have presently. We just have a few group of people going out, to protest, and we have the large majority who are, at home, or who are living their normal lives, even in the midst of the hunger situation. So how do you react to this? What would you say is responsible for this?
Yeah, Nigeria has become a place where anything can happen. So a lot of people have learned their lessons from history. Every protest, every crisis, every tension that occurs in Nigeria has always ended in the violation of human rights. And at the end of the day, it's like nobody speaks up for nobody. At the end of the day, it is like on the part of government, they go away with it. There is nobody to be held accountable. And of course, protesters have their lives on their hands. So it's a situation where I think the level of literacy of the Nigerians, both on the protest, on the civil area and the government, is still low. Because if people have the right to protest, yes, the president said people have the right to protest. The Senate president said the people have the right to protest, but that they shouldn't hinder the rights of other persons by their own rights. So when clauses like this begin to be attached to what you call the freedom of people, tension is escalated. And people get tensed. The FCT minister said in the FCT they will not take protest because, citing the same words, you cannot hinder the rights of other persons with your own right. So the closest protest to this was the NSAS protest, which Nigeria is still bleeding on. Some people are already pushing that certain persons that were arrested during the NSAS be released. I'm talking about in 2024. That people that went out to protest are still in prison up till now. And this is on the social media. This is on the newspaper. Agitations are coming through, human activists, that these guys should be released. The number of persons that died, the statistics of deaths should be released, and yet such things have not been released. And you are talking about another protest, you're talking about another situation where you are now confronting the government personally and bad government. The government is not going to look at it in a light mood. So people prefer to stay safe and, ginger others from the house and say, we are with you, we are with you, we give you our support. But they are indoors, while the few brave guys or populace are out there. So I think that the challenge Nigeria, the present protest is facing with regards to number of participants has to do with history. People have fear in them. People are still, I know, going through the tension of what happened in the NSAS protest. And for example, in the Southeast, we have gone through experiences of what we call the sit at home. Okay, where every Monday everybody sits at home, and in the Southeast, a group of people came and said, our protest will be in the house and not outside there. So if we see you outside, we kill you. And on Monday, I'll report this, on Monday last week, we had vehicles burned to ashes in the Aba area. We had in the Aba area to between Onitsha and Enugu, the same thing happened. So there were violations of human rights. There were reports of properties vandalized simply because people came out to carry out their civil responsibilities or their businesses. So we had cases where it was reported that some people died also in the Southeast as a result of their coming out of their houses. So you see that this is a complex situation. When people begin to hear stories like this, that people are killed if you come outside, people remain inside. And in areas where people are coming out to even protest, the fear of what happens is a mixed crowd. For example, we had what happened in Kano, where it was cited that Boko Haram infiltrated the protest. So you see that this naturally poses threat to, to the drive to participate in such events. So it is not like people are not willing to participate, but the scenario we have found ourselves in and the urgency through which the protesters came up with the idea, there was no education system to educate the protesters on the do's and don'ts, the check and balances. And we know that even before the protest broke out, that there was still challenge, there's still tension, disagreement between the government and the organizers of this protest. Where even government was saying we don't know the organizers of the protest, and the fact the protest will be put off or shifted, that the timing was wrong. And we know that the local government elections is supposed to come up very soon, and people begin to sense political presence in the protest, because if a government is in charge, and the local government elections are supposed to come on, you and I know that the local government elections are the bloodiest kind of class of election in Nigeria. It is dangerous than the national elections and the state elections. So with the intention of what happens in the elections, what happens in the forthcoming election, the pre-election experiences, what happens, there's tension everywhere. So all these things culminate to what has caused people to decide to stay indoors and watch and see what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ogochukwu. You made mention of the need for people to be well aware and also educated on what the protest is all about. We've seen situations just like Ambassador Joshua mentioned, where people were acting contrary of the protest. We see people vandalizing and also stealing government properties, which is not proper. So moving forward, we'll be looking at the economic impact of the End Bad Governance protest that has been on so far. So we have had situations of coffee, of lockdown in key places, in places like Kano, in Borno. I think today there was the report of a coffee in Kaduna State because of a series of attacks or clashes between protesters and the government. And we can see that as a result of this, the economy is also affected. Businesses cannot operate effectively when there are situations of lockdown or situations of coffee. So we have disruption to local businesses, to supply chain, and also to the overall economic activities of things. Ambassador Joshua, how do you react to this?
Janet, thank you very much. We have been having economic challenges. This one just added to it because the economic challenge is not failing well. So people were just managing to meet up with their needs. And there were people that used to earn on a daily basis. There are people that live, they are just their earnings from the kind of living from hand to mouth. I get a point. And so, but with this kind of situation, where there are curfew that you cannot even go out and do anything, then it's becoming so even more dangerous. Do you understand? Where you go and keep somebody that cannot be able to field again, it means that when you keep the person to a point that the person can no longer stay inside, he will come outside. It will become like those lepers that say, well, if we stay here, we are going to die of hunger. It's better we'll go to the field there and face the enemies. If we die, we die. Death is death. Do you understand? So that is what may happen. So because there is already hunger, that's what they are even protesting about. Do you understand? So but the few days that the protest was happening or is still happening, I can tell you that so many things were just flat. Even in the institute here, for instance, let me start from home. In the institute here, we have to postpone Abuja induction. Why? Because it affected the planning process. We were supposed to get papers that will print our certificate from Kano. We couldn't order for it. Why? Because Kano was already on fire. Do you understand? And there was curfew. You cannot even move. So even as of today, I called. They say they just give them time from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Do you understand? That is, they have relaxed it, but just for a few hours. So it's not the whole day. Do you understand? And Kano is a state, a place that doesn't sleep. Do you understand? But you have just how many hours to operate, and then you go back. So it can tell you how many businesses are affected. Do you understand? So those days of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, many people, so many have been lost. Do you understand? So many have been lost. If those businesses were on a Nigerian Stock Exchange, I can tell you for free that they are having challenges now. So many losses here and there. Do you understand? So that is the economic aspect of it. Apart from that, so many people lost their own properties, like goods, like marketers, businesses who have goods in their shop being stolen in Kano. Because you watch the videos, some stole cartons of Indomines, some carried gallons of oil, palm oil, granite oil. They were just carrying it. Anything they can see, they carry it. Some rice and all of that. Do you understand? So businesses lost in that aspect as well. So these are private businesses. These are not government businesses. So what do you expect from those people that lost their products that were displayed for sale? Do you understand? These are the issues. Do you understand? So, and then government activities were also flattened. As I'm talking to you now, even today, some of the federal offices are not open because of the ongoing protests in Abuja here. Some of the offices have not opened. So it means that business, government activities grounded, other private institutions grounded. Do you understand? So this affects the oppression and the economic flow. So it affects the rate of even turnover. Do you understand? People are just indoor. It's just few people that are going out and going about doing that. There are some of them that are going out. It means that practically they cannot even stay in because there's nothing at home to eat. So why will you stay at home? Do you understand? So they must go out. So it's affected in Nasarawa, in Abuja here, in Kaduna, in Borno State, Jigawa State. We call our coordinator in Jigawa State. He was telling me they are also in Indo. Do you understand? Because of the situation in Jigawa State. Because somebody died. Okay, a lot of people, a good number of people died in Jigawa protest as well. So it's affected the free flow or the economic activities, and as a result, so many businesses are down, are grounded, and nothing is moving at the moment. It's just that although it's picking up because some of them, some places, coffee is being relaxed, so certain activities are picking up, but it's still at a lower level. So generally, the economic is affected, and this is the economy that is very fragile already. You understand? And it's now looking more, the fragility is more high now compared to what we were experiencing. Do you understand? So many businesses have lost, and billions. If you want to quantify it monetarily, you discover that we have lost billions of nairas. If in fact you can put it in dollars, do you understand? We have lost in these few days of the protest, because transporters, some of them are not moving because they are afraid of what may happen. Do you understand? People that need to travel for one business engagement of the other have to suspend it as a result of this protest. So many activities have been affected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua Tahule. Just like you made mention of, it's actually no longer news that one of the major triggers of the End Bad Governance protest is the economic situation of things, is the hunger the masses are currently facing. And then we are also seeing this economic impact negatively on the situations of things. And it is it would be true to say that we should expect worst economic situations, because we had an economy that we're trying to revive before the protest, and the protest coming to disrupt things. So Dr. Ogochukwu, would love to hear from you. Would love you to react to the economic impact of things, especially in your given location in Port Harcourt, River State.
Okay, in Port Harcourt, like we stated, Nigeria is such a nation that when there is an impact in one state, it affects other states. For example, to get grains, cereals, gari, and foodstuffs like this in River State, Port Harcourt, for example, you need to travel from Kano to bring these grains. Rice comes from Kano, Kaduna, Zamfara, Borno. Wheat, which is one of the foods that is sustaining human beings now as a result of high rate of diabetes, comes from the north. And now where there are blockages all over the nation, you discover that there is a decline in the supply of this produce to Port Harcourt. So the particular ones that we have in Port Harcourt now, the price surges. For example, we can tell you that in Port Harcourt, gari was sold at 500 naira per cup. Beans was sold at 400 naira per cup. Now, we were trying to solve, we're pleading that the economy should be restored, but because of the normal market behavior, there are no supplies. So what we have has to be increased, because the number of human beings in River State of Port Harcourt are depending on the storages that are already in Port Harcourt to survive. So automatically, everything is going high. People can no more feed. People can no more access, the basic necessities in the society. Even what we call NEPA light, PSCN, light, electric light, you can no more access it as it was before, because there are a lot of restrictions, a lot of challenges, a lot of fears here and there, and above all, when there is high rate of food, crime increases. So when crime increases, it also impacts, the economy, because vehicles are stolen, foods are stolen, shops are vandalized. You know, phones, I don't understand the phone issue now. Every kind of phone, Nokia 3310, everything is a target of young boys to just put food on the table. So it also poses threat on the security of the state. Okay, it poses threat on the security of the state. A lot of criminal activities are going on, you know, in the streets, in the rural areas, in the suburbs. A lot of things are happening. You know, another thing that happens is like we got the report that on Saturday, people that went to the LMA market vacated at 2 p.m. That oil mill market located beside LMA is a very popular market in Port Harcourt. But suddenly the market shut down and we were like trying to know why are we running? What was the reason? They said soldiers in trucks just passed. And immediately the soldiers passed, everybody assumed that they came to kill people, or they assumed they came to shoot guns. Everybody, a market of over 200,000 persons emptied at the instant. Now you see the impact there, that one, the market closes at that moment, people couldn't buy, people couldn't sell, and on Sunday, people are scared to go to market because it's a daily market, even though it sells on Wednesdays, but now it's a daily market. So the issue there is that there is hunger and the rate of hunger is increasing. The strive for access to money is on the increase. I sent my son to withdraw money just 2 days ago, and he went somewhere to withdraw. And by the time he came back, I discovered that later in the evening, when I checked my balance, the person deducted 2,000 naira above what was expected and changed location. Didn't come back to do the POS business there again. So these are things that we observe on the grassroots. These are things that we observe everywhere. People that are selling, for example, people selling, you know, in mega levels have to shut down for fear of outbreak from the protest, from fear of outbreak from the society, because for now, nobody can trust the situation. Anything can happen any moment, and this is the situation of the citizenry. So people are being cautious, and then the result is negative impact on our economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ugochukwu. So once again, to our audience, we appreciate you for joining us. We would love to hear from you. We would love you to participate in this discussion. We are looking at an impact assessment of the nationwide protest, the End Bad Governance protest. So we would love to hear from you to know ways in which you think or you believe the protest has impacted us as a people. So moving forward, we'll be looking at the political impact of the End Bad Governance protest. Yesterday, we had the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu coming up to address the nations, you know, and a lot of people were not satisfied, you know, with the speech that was given. People, you know, are saying it does not address the situations of things, and also it does not meet the demands of the protesters. So Ambassador Joshua, we would love you to react to this. What do you think about the president's speech, and how does it affect or impact on us politically as a people?
Well, Janet, for the president's speech, we see things from different perspectives. The perspective of the presidency, that's the best they can offer for now, and that's what they have for Nigerians. But for what Nigerians are expecting is what they are not receiving. Nigerians expect that you should tell them straightforward that, okay, we have reduced the price of fuel from 600 or from 700 to 300 to 200 or to 100. That's what they want to see in a straightforward language. They want to see that the cost of the price of gas, cooking gas, will reduce. They want to see that the living wage of the workers increase to above what government has just signed into law, according to the protesters, according to their demands. They want to see some reforms, commitment on the part of government to do some reforms, and then also their commitment in terms of even the production of fuel, that's processing of fuel in our country here. And this kind of expectations were not what was visible in the president's speech. We did not see it like that, although they expresses concern and also expresses their achievement and what they are doing to help to reduce the suffering of Nigerians, according to them, which may not actually be the expectation of Nigerians per se. For instance, but one thing that I would say that may, in the president's speech, that may, in one way or the other, go a long way to contribute, maybe in the long run, maybe in a short while to come, is the fact that the borders have been opened so that food can be imported into the country. You know, borders have been closed down during the Buhari administration and even up to this very moment, but the president has ordered the opening of the borders so that there can be food importations, and the government have lifted some certain restriction in terms of import restriction, embargoes, and all of those things, so that they can bring food items, grains, and other these products inside into the country. So with that, we hope that maybe in the long run, maybe after some months, maybe let's say 6 months to come, maybe there will be reduction in the price of things like maybe rice and other grains. That is a probability. This, we cannot guarantee it, but there is hope that if such is allowed, then it means that there will be the pressure on food items will reduce in terms of the cost of price of things. Do you understand? So we are hoping that we'll see that come to pass. That is one of, I can see that is one of the major statement in the president's speech. Other statement like the issue of installation of all this equipment that the kit that can help in reducing fuel consumption. All those one, how many people have the money to even to go and install those kits? They are not free in the first place. So you are saying you have kits available, you have stations available where people can go and install those kits. How does that benefit to a common man who is even struggling on the street to even field? Some of them don't even have the money to go and pay for the installation of those kits. So how does that impact the street person? Do you understand? So you are talking about that, you're talking to the elite because they're the ones that can go and install those kind of things. I hear the point now. But the people that are doing what we call kabu kabu, do they save up to an amount that is amount to? Because I know that we install that thing now. Some people, it's 1 point something million they are doing it. Do you understand? Those plants. So it's not free. So it's like government is just trying to also promote some people's businesses in that direction. I hear the point now. So what Nigerians want is reduce fuel. That is what they know. They don't know what all those kits you are talking about. We are not conversant with it. We don't know it. What we know is we know the PMS. So reduce the price of that PMS. That's what we want to hear. That's what we use. Do you understand? How many cars will they have? So it's like government just want to start a new business with those kids that I'm talking about. Do you understand? So for me, that was not even supposed to be mentioned in that speech at all. If you have something like that, is it free? If you say it's free, we can know that, okay, it's free. So we can go and put our vehicles there, let them install the kits, you go and buy your fuel, and then you know that it's, or you go and buy gas, because it's gas, because definitely it's gas you're going to use. So we use gas, you can put gas of 4,000. Those that use it, they say they put gas of 4,000, travel to Kaduna, come back, they still intact. Do you understand? It has not gone far. But how many people can afford to install those kits? Because based on what some of us find out, is that some of them installing it at 1.2 million. Do you understand? So 1.5 million. So how many people can afford 1.5 million to install those kits? Do you understand? So these are the things. So some of those things do not make sense. They do not talk about any form of reforms, in terms of electoral reforms, and then maybe some kind of judicial reforms. We didn't hear anything like that. They didn't talk about where they are talking about the bicameral legislature. We didn't hear anything. A unicameral legislature. This is one of the demands of the protesters, right? But we are still maintaining the bicameral legislature, which is we are saying it's expensive. But I don't have any problem for us maintaining bicameral legislature. I don't have any problem at all with that. What I have problem with is the the current expenditure, okay, that goes on that is the overhead expenditure that goes on servicing the senators and the House of Reps. I can aspire to be a senator tomorrow, a House of Rep member tomorrow, which I will say, okay, let it be in place so that me too one day I will come and enjoy it. But it's not good. It's not fair for the country. Do you understand? It's not helping the country in any way. So it's better we should reduce it. Okay, if you can reduce the allowances of the senators, the House of Rep members to a moderate level. We are not saying that the House of Reps, the Senate should be impoverished. We are not saying that. We don't want to see our senators looking wretched. We don't want to see our House of Rep members looking so wretched. We want to see them looking good and be in a good position to make good laws for the country. But it's like what they're taking now is more than what is expected, and that's why even Abuja itself is too expensive to live. You understand? Abuja is too expensive to live at the moment now. Do you understand? Because you want to get a safe content in Abuja here, a safe content, just one room safe content, just one safe content, just one a safe content. I'm not talking about one bedroom. A safe content is talking about 700,000. In some places, it's even more than 700,000. In some places, 1 point something million. A safe content. So for what now? Do you understand? So this is what is happening. So, but they believe that there's money in Abuja because of the way, and it's going to who? Few people. And who are those people? The political class. Do you understand? Who are the ones having this access to these resources? So, so much resources in the hands of the few is also what is causing the inequality in the economy. The economic inequality is what is even causing the problem in the first place. That's what they even call for the protests in the first place. The economic inequality is too very wide. It's too wide. It's too wide. Do you understand? So, and this is affecting the whole stuff. So, the president's speech, those that are close to him will applaud him. Yes, APC will applaud him because it's their party. They are doing well. They are doing well. But on a general assessment, it is not the best. It's not the best. And I must say this again, that when you said people should give you time, have it in mind that people are already dying. So are they saying that when it's appointed unto man wants to die? So if you die, it's your death, or what? Otherwise, people don't have the patience to wait. Do you understand? We don't have the patience to wait. You say people should wait. You say from day one you start running. You just start running. You start running. So it's like we have run and entered the bush. Do you understand? Because the running is not impacting the lives of Nigerians, and that's why people are calling for protests. So for me, and this is my opinion, I'm not talking anybody's opinion. I'm talking about my opinion. It's not the opinion of the institute, though. It's the opinion of me, Joshua. I'm saying that the president's speech is far below expectation. It's far below expectation. And we expect that we will see more response from the government, concerning this protest. Whether the protest is going on or is not going on, government should respond, should react, should do more to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. Otherwise, if we have a second call of this protest, it will be more dangerous than what we see. See, people are not really afraid of the police or the army. Do you understand? Let me tell you what is happening in Bangladesh. The Bangladesh are protesting. The students that came out to protest, they protested until the prime minister resigned and flew out of the country. Do you understand? I saw a video where on Al Jazeera this very morning where they even marched into the prime minister's compound. I know some of them even harvested some of the fishes maybe in the compound of the prime minister. Do you understand? They break into the house. The security were there. They broke into the house, but already he has flee out of the country, resigned and flee out of the country. Do you understand? I can tell you that no military is military enough. No police is police enough. No paramilitary is paramilitary enough to stand in the way of protesters if they really mean business. How many people will you kill? Do you understand? How many people will you kill? And if the situation continues the way it is, and there is a second call for this protest, I can guarantee you that even the security themselves will give way. Just like you see what happened during the NSAS protest now. They have to give way. Do you understand? So it was a flow of activities, free flow of the activities. Because they also have families. They buy from the same market. Do you understand? So they are also suffering. And I can tell you, just check around. Check around. Check police officers that have retired from service in your area, in your community. How are they faring? Those that have retired. What about those that have not retired? Go to their barracks. Go to their barracks. Go to police barracks. Go and check. See how the barracks look like. Some of them doesn't look like a human being that lives there. Not at all. Do you understand? So they also are affected. So if people mean business to protest, police themselves will give way. Do you understand? So it's not about intimidation. It's not about intimidation. Because once people resolve that it's, well, one thing must kill a man. So if protest can kill me, that I'm protesting that it's better for this country and for the future of my children, then it's better I should die now so that my children will live well. I get a point now. So if people made this kind of resolution, then no amount of force can stop them. No amount of force. No amount of force. The worst thing that will happen is the political class that will run away. Because what will happen? Maybe the military will be forced to take over power. Do you understand? That's what will happen at the end of the day. So for me, the president needs to do more. They need to do something. The government needs to do something. Because they are living so large. If you hear the amount of money that they have called, and then also the language from the presidency should also, they're talking as if you are threatening people. It's not correct. The vice president, ministers talking as if they are gods. It's not correct. Do you understand? Senate president's speech was also not correct. You are leaders who don't expect to be seeing such coming from you. If you talk like that, what do you expect an ordinary person on the street to talk? If you talk as a leader, you are saying that people are stupid, idiots. Or you are saying that why people are on the street protesting, you'll be eating. So it's good that life has blessed you with opportunities, you are eating. Then you don't care whether other people die, and nothing concerns you. So it's not correct. We don't need to see such. We know that you have food to eat, but you should not use that to mock those that doesn't have to eat. Do you understand? People are coming out to protest that they are hungry. You are saying that the way you have the right to protest, while you are protesting, we will be at home eating. It doesn't make sense as a leader. I get the point now. It doesn't make sense. So we need to watch what we say as people, and those in the presidency themselves will also watch what they say before they will not say that those that are talking on the street are not respecting the leaders of the nation.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua. Just like you said, truly there is a need for caution because these are the days of rage. The masses are agitated. So it is very important for those the political leaders to be very cautious of the words they say. Concerning the president's speech, a lot of people have said that in the course of his speech, the president actually insinuated that the protest had some political underlining, in the sense that the protest was, inspired politically. So, Dr. Ogochukwu, would love you to react to that. What do you think about that aspect of the president's speech? Is the protest politically inspired or otherwise?
Okay, Janet. The president accusing opposition parties of inspiring Nigerians to protest against bad governance in his own leadership, I think is undemocratic, because people voted him into power to take Nigeria out of what it was, according to his campaign promises, where Nigeria ought to be today. And we know that he himself, as a president, has made several protests against the former president, Jonathan. These guys came together to say, let's kick out this man because he's slowing Nigeria down. He's not giving Nigeria what Nigeria ought. He has been there. So the role of opposition parties must be there. That is the reason why even in the Senate we have a minority leader. The voices of the opposition is to mirror exactly what is happening in society to the leadership. So opposition parties must speak out. Opposition parties also have followers who also take instruction from them. So when the government is not working, especially when it is contrary to the manifesto or campaign promises, these opposition parties will use it as a laughing stock or as a message to Nigeria, to fellow Nigerians. They will come up to say, the president said he would give us cheap electricity, but today what is happening? The presidency, the president promised to give us access to communication, but today what is happening in the communication sector? The president promised to provide fuel, PMS to Nigerians, but today what is happening? Of course, they will go back to say, we will make this better for you. And whenever the opposition party has reasons and facts to present as against an incumbent government, then certainly the incumbent government will be tense or feel threatened. So Mr. President is only reacting to tensions that have been projected by the opposition party, but accusing the opposition parties to be responsible for inciting Nigerians to come out to the streets, I think that is not factual, because Nigerians were tired of the scenario they found themselves. Every Nigerian have a bite of hunger. Every Nigerian have something to say in one way or the other to express grief for the present government. So people clamoring for the end of bad governance is because every sector has felt its bite. A friend of mine who happens to be a pastor sent me a message sometime. And sorry, I want to quote the pastors. He said, everything in Nigeria has gone up except offering. So everything in Nigeria, PMS, transportation, rent has gone up, but offerings have not gone up. So you see that everybody is having a bite of it. People are no more committed. People are no more, coordinated. People have goals and plans. Even people that campaigned for the present government are not feeling the impact of the government as per appointments, job employments. These are things that they promised. Unlike the previous governments where people will get into power and provide jobs for Nigerians, especially for their followers. But I want to tell you that even the APC members who canvassed for this government, who pushed to see that APC broke through states, who ensured that APC, came into certain zones that were not APC states, have not been employed. Some have not been appointed. Some feel like we have not been carried along as we ought to be carried along. So when you are in a state of situation where those that should protect you, those that should praise you, those that should clap their hands for you are hungry, are not feeling your direct impact, then I tell you that it is not a politically influenced protest. It is a protest that is triggered as a result of a general impact. In all strata of Nigerian class, everybody is impacted. So nobody is comfortable with what is happening except those, maybe politicians that we may say that are in power. Multinational companies are leaving Nigeria in droves. Economic stakeholders are leaving Nigeria in thousands. Those of them still remaining are struggling to survive because the economic situation in Nigeria is unpredictable. You can't predict Nigeria economy. You can't predict that by the next 2 weeks that there's going to be an increase in the naira or there will be a fall in the naira. It is just very, very flexible. So multinational companies cannot go. The political sector cannot survive because politicians survive by investing in a person to win an election, and when he wins the election, in turn, they benefit from that investment that they have gotten. And the opposition parties who have taken advantage of this are already preparing their manifesto for the next election. Of course, the local government elections will be coming up soon. And we're going to see what is going to happen using the Edo State as a case study, the nearest election that is coming soon. Where the presidency has failed, of course, the opposition will open their mouths. But I want to say that from my perspective, I don't see this protest to be politically incited, but to be us incited. Every Nigerian is crying. So, Mr. President, what you are hearing is the cry of Nigerians and not political parties, because political parties are also citizens of Nigeria. The church is crying, the mosque is crying, every religion is crying, every sector is crying. So it is not politically instigated, but hunger instigated. So the president has gotten this wrong on his perspective regards the opposition party inciting people. No, it began with him. If he had fulfilled his campaign promises, if he had put food on the table of Nigerians, if there were jobs out there, you can imagine graduates teaching in schools and going home with 8,000 naira salary. Master degree holders going home with salaries as low as 15,000 naira because the government is not employing you. So whatever you see, you do. Keke drivers are graduates. What do they do? How do people survive? These are things that we expected this government to tackle from day one, because this government was already participating in the Buhari regime. So they know how Nigerians felt in the days of Buhari. So we expected that from the day one of the next government, for example, that a government that is a continue from the same political system, we felt that it would be a repair system, a repair mechanism. We missed it here. Therefore, we are supposed to, rectify these areas and improve the government. But in this case, we've not seen such improvements. There is insecurity everywhere, in the north, in the south, in the east. There are still agitations for separation of the country. And when these things are not yet solved, you are calling for time. People are getting crazy. People are being kidnapped every day. People are being shot dead every day. Our youths are getting into Yahoo because there are no employments. There is no hope for continued education, as was promised in the 70s, that if you are educated, you're employed. 50 years old students today are going to Yahoo, using their parents, using anybody they see for rituals, simply because the government is not working. And somebody says people should close their mouths. Even if the opposition party have incited the protest, I think it is a fair one. Because if we don't fix Nigeria today, we may grow into a Rwanda, we may grow into a Syria, we may grow into an Afghanistan, we may grow into a system where the leadership of this country will lead Nigeria from outside Nigeria, from diaspora. And I think that wherever there is conflict, like we were taught in this institute, that it is essential that there is something to learn, there is something to be looked into and resolved. So instead of Mr. President to continue the blame syndrome which affected us in the last regime, let them go back to the drawing board, hear the cry of the people, fix the cries of the people, take it as a challenge to frustrate your opposition. If it is an opposition party, I mean, incited protest, then let them take it as a challenge. Great employment, institute more refineries in Nigeria, produce quality fuel. You know, Nigerians got crazy when Dangote started his own refinery and it failed. It went through certain, strife by the same people in government, and exposures came to discover that certain persons in government were involved in the frustration of the locally instituted refinery, and their intentions were revealed. Nigerians got mad when they even had wait from the NNPC to say that fake fuel or poor quality PMS was imported into Nigeria. Before now, many Nigerians didn't know that there were qualities of fuel. But coming to see all these things, people must stop. People must agitate. People buy cars and ride them for 2 months, they crash simply because they were buying bad fuel. And people did not know until these revelations came. People must agitate. There is hunger everywhere. So whether the protest is politically instigated or not, Mr. President and the presidency should take it seriously and as a call to review their policies and reforms and get Nigeria working. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Janet, are you with me? I want to say something on that aspect before you continue.
Okay, you can go ahead, Ambassador.
Dr. Ogochukwu, even if it is instigated by the opposition parties, why are they afraid of opposition parties?
That's the question.
They were in opposition before. Now they are in government. So why are they afraid? Is it not what they were doing that is happening, if at all? What is the essence of opposition?
Yes.
And if you don't want opposition to oppose you, then give them no reason for opposition.
Right.
I get the point now. But when you give people reasons to oppose you, why are you crying? So far as I'm concerned, they have created opportunities for the opposition to oppose them. Otherwise, if you are doing what you're supposed to do, then there will be no opposition. Opposition will become powerless. Do you understand? But you have, it's like you are empowered the opposition with your bad governance, with mispolicies and programs that are not anti-people's programs. That is anti-people's policies. So these things are giving the opposition the power to come out and say something, if at all you think it's opposition. But this is just beyond opposition anyway. I just wanted to add that they shouldn't be afraid of opposition. By the way, they were opposition. Now they are in government. So if they don't want what opposition used to do, they should do what is good for the people so that the opposition will not have anything to accuse them of, and then also to instigate protests on the backdrop of what they are doing so bad. So it's left for them to prove to Nigerians that, yes, we are capable and we can do it. That's why we are here. That's why we agitated for it. And now we are in, we will do it. But coming to just say it's because it's the work hand of the opposition, then it doesn't make sense at all. Don't give opposition the opportunity to have any reason to contribute or to accuse you of anything or oppose your government. Do you understand? So that's what we want to see from the presidency. They shouldn't just come and talk politics with us. We are not time. This is not time to talk politics. This is time for governance. And what people are protesting about is not about politics. It's about governance. Govern in a way that you're supposed to govern, not politically. That one is a political statement, and we don't want to take political statements. Talk about governance. Let's know that this is what you are doing, and this is what you plan to do, and to change the situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua, for that contribution. So to our viewers, we have Ambassador Thomas with us, and he will be sharing with us the situations of things in his location concerning the protest. So Ambassador Thomas, we are glad to have you. You're welcome.
Welcome. Like in my state, in Benue State, we didn't have a good protest in Benue State at the moment. It was calm. Everywhere was secured. The security apparatus was everywhere. So we didn't have any protest. We didn't witness any protest at all. So, but the few states have come to realize that Nigeria has a very bad governance in respective of good faith. I am so much worried about the situation because it has caused a lot of inflation, fuel scarcity, and a lot of challenges like frustration has gone wide, and economic situation and good governance issues in the country. So in fact, it is really worrisome. It is really worrisome.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Thomas, for that. And before you came in, we were reacting to the president's speech that happened yesterday concerning the situations of things. And we would love to hear from you what you think about that, and what is the reaction of the people concerning the speech that was given by the president.
Yeah, here in Benue State, in Makurdi, precisely, where the people are worried because the president's speech is supposed to be heard before it comes out to the public. And by yesterday or day before yesterday, we started seeing the president's speech online. Who is the one who leaked that, who exposed that speech online? That is the issue. And therefore, it has been something that what Nigerians were expecting, he did not touch. He abandoned everything, which is something quite disturbing. The president should address Nigeria on issues like that are affecting Nigeria at this moment. There is hunger in all these places, irrespective of he's trying in the other way to redeem Nigeria in different ways. But this issue of hunger and fuel scarcity, because I believe that if he would have bring down the price of fuel alone, this hunger will stop. You understand? So Nigerians are not happy with the speech at all. Yes, and in my place in Makurdi here, everybody is just trying to what is he saying? Because they were expecting to hear good something. They were able to hear the good outcome of the message, which really proved wrong to many of us here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Thomas. Thank you for that contribution. So moving forward, before we conclude on today's episode of the Peace Clinic, we will also be looking at the media impact. We would not be doing justice if we end today's episode without talking about how the media has greatly impacted the situations of things. talking about media coverage, the quality, and then the quantity of the media coverage, both locally and internationally. And also talking about the social media, the role of the social media in organizing the protests, in spreading information, and also in shaping the narrative, especially the present narratives, and also the public perception, how people perceive the situations of things. So, Ambassador Joshua, we would love to hear from you concerning this. What role do you think the media has played, and how has it greatly impacted the End Bad Governance protest?
Janet, the media is playing their role, both the mainstream media and the social media. They are playing their role. I think the fact is that the information is in the open. Do you understand? The someone is just saying now that the president's speech was posted somewhere online before he broadcasted the speech. Do you understand? Which is not supposed to be. In as much as the speech is, it has not have any impact on the people per se. It was not supposed to be seen somewhere before the president could even broadcast the speech. So it does not make any sense in any way. So it's one of the media's functions. Media just bring out, it's a kind of under watchdog. Do you understand? Bring out the secret, the hidden information that so on social media and the mainstream media, they are doing their job well. And the truth of the matter is that the atrocities that have happened in the course of the protests have also been covered. You think that it was not covered, but you know that it's covered. If there's any form of police brutality, it was covered. You understand? It was any form of human violation, they were covered. And that's why Amnesty International came out to say give some reports. And some other media, mainstream media like Al Jazeera, also made some coverings, and we have been seeing and have been reporting some of the confrontations between the protesters and the security agencies, and some of those things are out. You understand? But the challenge we do have in our country is that despite the fact that, and this is one of the reasons why people are calling for the reform of the judiciary system, because the judiciary arm of the government needs a serious reform. Do you understand? Because in situation whereby there are abuses of people's rights and they take it to the court and the court cannot be able to give people the justice they deserve, then that's where the problem is. Do you understand? And that's why people are calling for the judicial reform. And I think it's an appropriate call, because that arm of the government needs serious reform. It needs serious, very serious reform. And its independence must be guaranteed, whereby there will be no influences from anywhere whatsoever at whatever level. Do you understand? In fact, if at all, and if possible, Chief Justice should not be appointed by the presidency. It should be an appointment within the judicial system by themselves. Do you understand? They should appoint their own. They do say they do nominate and send for confirmation. It's not true. Do you understand? They should do their own appointment and send to the Senate for confirmation, if at all. Do you understand? So their independence should be guaranteed. So if they are independent, I think we have guarantee for justice in this country. Otherwise, some of these abuses that we're talking about here, like we have said, the NSAS protesters, some of them are still in prison today. They are in police custody. What are they doing there? They understand. Some of them did not destroy anything. They were just victims of the arrest. This protest that we are talking about, according to the police report that I have just read on their X handle, they said that about 681 people have been arrested so far. Do you understand? So why the arrest? And if care is not taken, they will not take them to court. They will just keep them in say. They will just be there doing nothing. You know, that's why as an institution, we have our Justice Forum unit, or the unit of the institute. We have our professional members who are lawyers, Some of them arbitrators, some of them mediators. I think we need to begin to activate that forum so that these people can begin to function now, because this is what they have to be doing. Go out there, go into prisons, talk to people, let's know what they are going through, why they are there, and how they can get justice. I get the point. Now, some of them, they are there because, not because they committed any form of offense, just that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then they have been arrested. Because in our situation here, police do arrest before investigation. They don't do investigation before arrest, and which is very terrible. Do you understand? Supposed to do an investigation, know who committed a crime before you arrest a person. But in our situation, it's not like that. And when in a time of protest like this, a general protest like this, if we arrest anybody in time of protest, and once the protest is over, release them, let them go their own way, and caution them not to join protests again. Do you understand? Instead of keeping them unnecessary in the court. What about those that even lost their loved ones? So what will you do for them? Do you understand? So we need to look at some of these issues. We need to look at some of these issues. It's very, very critical and fundamental. So police brutality, the right to the rights of the people, of the citizenry, must be protected and not to be abused. Whether they are on the street protesting, they should be protected. We see in places where people have been protected. Yes, you arrest them if there is any form of crime committed at all. Then charge them to court. Let them face judgment. Do you understand? Let them be convicted for the offense committed and let them serve their punishment. But you just arrest somebody and dump the person in police, say it's not supposed to be so. And these things are going on there. So the arrests that have been made, if there's nothing so tangible, if those people were not part of those that constitute any form of destruction on any property of government or on any private property, they should be released to go their own way and be cautioned not to join any violent protest whatsoever. Do you understand? It should be as simple as that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, for that submission. Now, still looking at how the social media has helped so far in spreading information and shaping narratives concerning the ongoing End Bad Governance protests. Dr. Okochukwu, we have seen in the media space, we have seen situations whereby sharing videos of past protests, the violence that happened in the NSAS protest. They are bringing it into the End Bad Governance protest. Shaping a wrong narrative, making people see some level of violence that have not happened. And that is one of the negative aspects of the media, sharing fake news and also trying to influence the perception of people. So what do you think about this, or how do you react to this? How the media, the credibility of the information is being shared, and also the ways narratives are being shaped?
Yeah, thank you, Janet. The social media has played this role on the spread of information to the populace regards these events, not just in Nigeria but globally. From wherever you are, you can get updates on the Israel-Palestine war, the Russia-Ukraine war. You can get updates on various crises all over the world, and also progressive matters happening politically, religiously, sports, and otherwise. We get information from the Olympics, from anywhere we are through the social media, because not everybody today has access to televisions, and we know how expensive the DSTV is today. We know how expensive it is subscribing to some of those TV broadcast stations. But with the ease of our Androids, with the ease of our phones, we could access current informations on events all over the world. And like you said, the negative impact of these there must be, people must be educated to understand that not everything we see in social media is true. And not just in social media also, we know that there are also persons who are hired to work for government in the media sector, who manipulate information to suit the government or the state. Yes, we know that such things happen. But people must be educated to know how to verify informations before they quote them, before you use them. Because whatever you say is what you'll be held liable for. So when pictures are being projected, it is important that we seek for verifications. Okay? We look at the dates. For example, whenever videos or pictures are being projected, it is important that dates are tagged to them. It is important that we understand the background of that particular environment. Somebody shot a video on social media last week, and he was citing that that was Nigeria, where hundreds of people were upon the roof of a building while there was protest, and certainly the house sunk, and there was massive deaths. Okay, there was a high number of mortality. Then people say that was Nigeria. Oh, bad Nigeria, evil Nigeria. Then somebody said, no, this is not Nigeria, but Liberia. That such event happened in Liberia and not in Nigeria. But it has been tagged an event that happened during the End Bad Governance protest. So it is important that we study whatever videos that we receive through social media. Number one tool that will help us is language. Try to listen carefully. The Hausa man speaking Hausa in Nigeria has a different, or a Fulani man or whatever, has a different intonation from somebody in Libya, has a different from Sudan. We listen to the background, get to understand the language that is being spoken, get to understand the environment. There are basic backgrounds that we know Calabar has, River State has. And when there is a video coming from the Sahel region, and somebody says it is happening now, live now in Owerri, live now in Port Harcourt, we should be able to say no, there are no such topographies, there are no such environment, there is no such geography in Port Harcourt or in Imo State or in Abuja, but this might be. So let us not believe everything that we get on social media, but investigate every information that we get from the social media, because the difference between the social media informations and the instituted media houses is that these guys are professional. Those in media houses are professionals. They are trained to give right information and to project the information as it is. Even though we must have this at heart that some media houses have political backgrounds. They send out images, they send out news that suits their paymasters. So whether we are listening to the NTA, the AIT, the CNN, the Al Jazeera, the news in the social media, we must understand that we need to use our IQ in processing any information we are receiving from the media house. Whose interest are they portraying? We know that the Sun newspaper belongs to a politician, yes, in Abia State. And when they project information from such media houses, newspaper, people that are enlightened know that these people are having a political background. So there must be somebody that controls the news they put out there. Something happened, somebody was saying, that he thought that by now that the Biafran nation would have been separated from Nigeria. And we said, how do you mean? He said he read in the newspaper that, in fact, everything has been signed in London, everything has been signed, and it's just remaining one thing, and it is approved. And we asked him, what is the name of the newspaper? By the time he mentioned the name, everybody burst out in laughter. These are people enlightened against someone that was not enlightened. So the society has a lot of role to play in, comprehending and managing social media outlets. We must educate people. to understand that not everything happening there is real. The AI, the artificial intelligence today is helping people build news, build, build anything they want to build. Motion movies, motion whatever. People can just project something, put on audio, an audio background, use another physical image to project something and call it a news, call it a movie, call it anything. And it is in the space. And people are like, this is our president speaking. Why is it somebody else that is saying what the artificial intelligence has projected to portray? So the social media is a big way for us to take advantage of, but we must be conscious of everything that is sent out unprofessionally. We must be very, very careful. And of course, before you believe any information, investigate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ogochukwu, for that submission. So as we come to an end of today's episode, talking about the End Bad Governance protest and impact assessment of what the protest has been so far. So we would love to know, that's you, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, as we conclude, we'd love to know your assessment on the present ongoing protests and what are your words to the protesters and also to the government concerning the situation of things.
All right, Janet, thank you very much. On a general note, so far, I believe that the protesters, they are yet to accomplish their goals. I don't know whether they want to continue with the protest or not. But going by the president's speech, I can say that the goal is not yet achieved. Based on what they are expecting, based on the list we saw and discussed. Comparing it with the president's speech, it means that they have a long way to go. Whether they are going to continue to protest or they are going to end it here and give government more time as they are asking or demanding for it, it's left for them to decide. But as a peaceful institution, an institution that promote peace and also promote conflict resolutions, we says that the protesters should maintain a peaceful protest if they continue with the protest. It should be peaceful. And there's, if you destroy any government property, which, for instance, now take for instance, you destroy traffic light. If government use 5 million to install that traffic light that you destroy, the next time they will give you budget for that traffic light is going to be 20 million. You understand? So it does not call for any destruction of any property. And then if you destroy any individual property, then you have just have to, render somebody into a deep poverty. Somebody who is struggling also to live. You have just accelerated the person's, so it's collapsed. So it's not good for you to go and destroy anybody private property and then government property as well, because government property is not for any particular person, it's for all of us. Do you understand? So whether you benefit from it today or not, somehow, maybe tomorrow, yourself or someone close to you will benefit from it. So if you destroy any hospital, destroy any police station, or anything that you destroy, just have it in mind that you have just destroyed something that could have benefited you or someone close to you. And whether you like it or not, the money that they say is not available, they will still find it somewhere, or they will still go and borrow money to come and build this thing that you have destroyed at more expensive, at a more very costly price than the one they even, do you understand? So it does not, it doesn't call for it at all. Just go and march and do your protest. So as long as you want to do it, continue to do it. So far as it's peaceful, no challenge. But Janet, the problem that I know and I have and I suspect why protests in Nigeria always turn into violence is because our leaders doesn't listen. We have leaders that doesn't have listening ears. And one of the confirmation that leaders doesn't have listening ears is the statement that come from the vice president, the president that come from the statement that come from the Senate president, the statement that come from the Minister of FCT. I get the point now. These are statements that confirm to you that the leadership is not interested to listen to anybody. And if you ask me, why are these people not interested to listen to anybody? If you like protest from till tomorrow, it's what they want, they will do. Why? Why? Because deep in their heart, they know that you did not vote them into the power. If they may say, thank God you voted us into power, we appreciate you, whatever. But they know in their heart, deep in their heart, that you, the protesters and the electorate, did not vote them into power. They found their way into power. So why should they listen to you? Why should they take policy measures that will benefit you? You that refuse to vote them into power. Do you understand? So I think this is the reason why sometimes protest always ends into violence, because leadership had a deafening ear. They don't hear, they don't listen, they don't care much. Do you understand? They don't care. So on the part of leadership, what am I saying? What makes good leadership is listening. If you cannot listen as a leader, then it does not make you a good leader anywhere. Okay? So if you want the followership to listen to you, if you say the protesters should go and give us more time, then you also should be willing to listen to what the protesters are saying. Then the situation will be balanced. Or you don't listen to protesters, or you expect the protesters to listen to you, then that is an aberration. You cannot govern people and you don't know what the people are saying. So far as I understand democracy very well. Democracy is just a kind of a social contract. Do you understand? The people giving their right to you. That is, you are just first among equals. Do you understand? You are no much better than anybody. Just that people just give you the privilege to be there for them, to be their eye. Do you understand? Anybody can be there. So if you doubt me, you are not the first president, you are not the Senate president, it means that others have been there. Do you understand? So it's a privilege for you to be there. It means that tomorrow you will not be there. Do you understand? So when you are there, count it as a privilege, whether you find your way into it or you were voted. But so far as you are there and do things that will benefit the people, so that you set your own path differently. Do you understand? So the leadership should listen and should be willing to do. I'm not saying that they should do everything the protesters are asking for, but there are certain things that you can do. Even a bad leader who bought his way into power can decide to institutionalize policies that will make the system to be good for everybody, for the next generation. Do you understand? It's like you just bought your way to come and make the system work. Do you understand? So even if they pay for it to be there, they should fix the system so that it will benefit the next generation on a neutral ground. Anybody that is coming should come in neutral. So they should work on electoral reforms. Do you understand? So that anybody coming into the power will come on a straightforward path. You know that, okay, the people voted them into power. And so when they are in power, they will do the bid of the people. But these people have a mentality that they did not vote me, so I will continue to do whatever I want to do. When the next election comes, I have the instrumentality that I can still use to come back to power again. So I don't need people. Do you understand? It's like I don't need people. All I need is I need more money. I need more money. I need more money. And if you look at the attitude of our leaders, that is the intention. What I need is just more money, more money. If I have more money, I can do whatever I want to do. Do you understand? So far as politics in Nigeria is concerned. So that is the attitude. So for me, leadership should listen. The protesters, if we must protest, It should be a peaceful process. Don't destroy any government property. It's for you. Don't destroy any private property because it's your brother's property. It doesn't matter whether he speaks the same language with you or not. It's your brother's. In fact, he's just an ordinary person like you. You don't need to. He's just struggling to just maintain his family through that business. So don't go and destroy it. Okay? So that's just it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Tamuda Joshua, for that final word. So over to you, Dr. Ugochukwu. We would love to hear from you concerning the impact assessment of the nationwide protest and what you have to say to the protesters and also to the government.
Sorry, can you repeat yourself? Sorry.
So over to you. We would love to hear from you concerning what is your assessment of the impact of the nationwide protest and what are your final words to the protesters and also to the government.
Okay, Janet, thank you very much. I think the impact of this nationwide protest is that the world have had it loud and clear that Nigerians are hungry. The government have had it loud and clear that they have failed Nigerians, and that more needs to be done if we must continue as a nation, or if we must hold them accountable as our leaders, because the power belongs to the people. And I foresee a next national or general election where the people will be in charge, and the INEC will have to tread with caution because the people have proven they are in charge of the nation. So people can't be stupid forever. And if the presidency does not apply caution, I think that we will come to a point of lawlessness. Already, many of the politicians in Nigeria are away. They're not in Nigeria. Many have flown away. In fact, a week before the outbreak of this protest, a lot of people traveled, and a cartoon was made as a kind of caricature to our political class. Every politician is now flying away from Nigeria. And you know what it means. So it means that the people have shown their minds to their leaders that you disappointed us. So I think from today onwards, the political class or the people in charge must change or should change their perspective. Think the people. It should be a people-oriented government and not a my-pocket-oriented government, where people strive to amass billions for their own personal profit, millions, billions that their children cannot even finish. Sorry to say this, in my zone, we have heard of cases where people, rice, foodstuff that was given by the federal government to distribute to people in local governments, was stocked somewhere, and everything as a result of heat got spoiled. When the said man died, people went into his warehouse to clean it up and saw bags of rice packed there. You know what? Those bags of rice were used to fill potholes on the road. These were foodstuffs that were distributed for the poor masses. So you see that sometimes, not as if the federal government is not doing that, but the senators, the House Assembly members, the governors, the local government chairmen, the ward councillors will keep hoarding these things that are distributed from the federal government. Scholarships will come, they will hoard them, give it to their children. Instead of them to distribute it to people in the community, they will hold it down until it expires. Nobody in the society will take advantage of that educational scholarship. This is the situation we find ourselves. Everything is not Mr. President. We see situations where fertilizers were distributed to states for free, but people decided to hoard them to use them for campaign in the community. Some people had to repackage them to sell in the market. So you see that the system, when they say when the head is corrupt, the body is corrupt. So who queries who? So we are looking up to a government that will sit up to checkmate its systems, not be loose. Okay, the president has said we are building refineries. Good, you are building refineries across all sectors in the nation. what are the check and balances to see that these projects that you have designed is being carried out, that the feedback they're receiving is not an audio feedback. People will snap pictures and bring to the president and say this is the stage, it is 60% complete, meanwhile there's nothing happening anywhere. So Mr. President should devise feedback, strong alternative feedback mechanisms outside his appointees. If he has appointed somebody to investigate or get feedback on a particular sector, there should be other persons he must trust to give the same feedback to ensure that the information he's receiving is true and is right. The bureaucratic system also is corrupt. Most times, people send feedback, and along the way, people, dustbin those files, those documents, or expose the secrets that other persons are giving to the person at the top, that this is what is happening in your government. So we need to refine the system. And to the protesters, I join our boss, our registrar, to appeal that we protest peacefully and according to the norms and circumference of what protest should be. The world have heard your voice, use everything you can, but never let your rights infringe the freedom of another Nigerian. With this, I know we'll get it right, and I believe that with the pressure we felt around Nigeria, the government will sit up to fuse us into a better realm. I strongly believe that, and I hope for that. Else, I bet you they will struggle to win one seat in Nigeria in the forthcoming local government elections. They will struggle to win one seat in the forthcoming state elections, and also I believe that. So to save their seats, to protect the integrity of the APC to the ruling government, they need to sit up and make Nigeria work.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ugochukwu, for your submission. So as we come to an end of today's episode, talking about end bad governance process and impact assessment of the nationwide protest, we want to appreciate our viewers for joining us. Thank you for staying to the end. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate those who contributed. Thank you, Ambassador Joshua Tahule, in absentia, and thank you, Dr. Ugochukwu, for your time. It's a pleasure having you with us. So to our viewers, the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management is organizing a 1-month free online certification course in emotional intelligence, and is commencing today on Monday, 5th of August, at 7 o'clock p.m. GMT +1. So you can do well to join us on our YouTube page and also on Facebook for the commencement of the training. So to know more about us, you can do well to visit us at www.igpcm.com.ng or contact us via email at igpcminfo@gmail.com, or you can call the number on your screen, +234 703 345 8730 or +234 4156 9400. You can also do well to follow us on all our social media handles. We're on YouTube, on Facebook, and also on LinkedIn as Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. You can also find us on Twitter and on Instagram as IGPCM. So once again, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you, and we will see you on the next episode of the Peace Clinic. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you, Dr. Ugochukwu.